see you.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is now streaming on Disney+. It's the film critics are calling the best Avatar yet.
Yeah! Go, 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 go!
A true epic and completely jaw-dropping.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Return to Pandora on Disney+.
It will be an adventure for the whole family.
And watch the Oscar-winning phenomenon at home.
This is sick!
Avatar: Fire and Ash, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, we're going to talk about histrionic personality disorder. So if you're not a subscriber, then you did not listen to my borderline personality disorder podcast, which you should, because that is a related disorder. These are called the cluster B personality disorders: histrionic, narcissistic, and borderline. And they're all related, but they're not exactly the same. So today I'm going to talk about histrionic personality, which is something that a lot of people have never heard of, right as soon as I tell you to subscribe, because you'll get that borderline one as well as 225 others. So it's really, really good repository of information. All right, so what are the criteria of histrionic personality disorder? I said narcissistic because it's similar but different. So they have to be the center of attention. They're uncomfortable when they're not. They will use sexually seductive or provocative clothes and attitudes and language to get attention from people. They have rapidly shifting and shallow emotions. So they could seem very upset one minute and very happy the next minute. And then eventually, if you observe them long enough, you wonder, is any of this real? Do you really feel those things, because they move so quickly, right? Consistently uses their physical appearance to draw attention to themselves. So younger people will often show off their body in a sexual way. Older people will dress in a very kind of attention-seeking way. The main goal here is to get attention. Even their speech, it's like when they talk, it's dramatic, theatrical, it's loud. Everything is about getting people to look at them. And they are, the main goal of the histrionic person is to get people to look at them. They don't have to admire them necessarily. That would be great. But they at least have to give them the attention. The deepest fear here is being invisible. And so their interactions with other people are pretty shallow, but it's like they don't know that. They think that they have these deep relationships, or a good friendship. They'll call all these people their, quote, friend, but these people barely know them. This is like the woman at the store. Oh, my friend at the store, she always says this and that to me. Oh, let's go to the store so that you can meet my friend. This is just the woman who owns the store, right? And she's nice to you because you buy stuff at the store. But the person with histrionic personality, everything is kind of a shallow experience. They don't really go that deep, so they don't really understand that this person is going to be nice to everybody and she's giving you attention because you're in her store. They think this is a friend, this person loves me, etc. So as I said, the core fear here is being invisible or overlooked. And you could say, all right, that's a lot, that's similar to narcissistic personality. But with narcissistic personality, specifically, you want to be better than people. You don't necessarily even want attention all the time. If you're narcissistic, you could be an introverted narcissist. When you compare yourself to other people, you want to think that you're better than them. So the narcissist is always looking for ways that they're smarter, they're better looking, they're more athletic, they're richer, whatever the case may be. They don't need to tell that to a lot of people, though. I mean, sometimes they like to, but that's not necessarily a core feature. They don't just want attention. They want specifically for people to look up to them and to find them superior. And if they're alone, they also think that they're superior. A narcissist doesn't necessarily have to compulsively go after attention in every situation, like somebody with histrionic personality disorder. Now, how's it different or similar from BPD, from borderline personality? Well, I mean, I talk about BPD in depth in my podcast, so I won't review a lot of that, but there is no self-harm or anger really, or super moodiness in histrionic personality. The main feature here is this dramatic, attention-seeking, often seductive style of interacting. Somebody with BPD, they're terrified that people are going to abandon them. They'll do anything to keep a relationship. They want the relationship to be the deepest and most intense relationship, at all times, where somebody truly feels that they can't live without them. The person with histrionic personality disorder doesn't care. People are infinitely replaceable. If one friend doesn't answer the phone, they go down the list of a million other friends, or they'll go to the bar themselves and they'll start up a loud conversation with the bartender, and then they'll make friends, and they'll think those are real friends, not just people who came over to talk to me because I'm being so loud and I'm asking them questions, but they'll consider those people real friends. And so how does this develop? Well, like anything, it develops in childhood. Often there's a history of abuse or neglect, and the fantasy is being so attractive and lovable and amazing that everybody wants to hang out with you and everybody wants to give you attention, and you're never overlooked or neglected again. Sometimes with the seductive style, that originates from sexual abuse as a child, or being sexualized as a child and given attention purely for your sexuality or for your looks, such that then in adulthood, you think that that's still kind of the way to get everybody's attention and love is by being sexy and seductive. And so if you have been always given, a lot of feedback that you're so good looking, or unfortunately, if you were sexually abused and thus you learned that your worth was in your sexuality, then this is one of the personality disorders that can develop. Another one that develops from childhood sexual abuse is borderline personality very frequently, or complex PTSD. So when these people with histrionic personality disorder raise children, they focus on the image. Everything is about the image and getting attention and throwing the biggest party and having the best house and the car, and just there's a lot of people on reality TV with this personality disorder. They're not necessarily angry or conflictual people, it doesn't have to be a lot of bad drama, but it's a lot of good drama from their perspective. It's a lot of walking into the room and everybody's eyes turn. These people are super into their looks and their image. Guys can't get quite as into their, they can't put on like makeup and a push-up bra, but they could certainly work out all the time and drive the fancy car and make a lot of money that you throw around and buy drinks for everybody at the bar, that sort of thing. So this histrionic style, when you raise children, you're teaching them constantly that the most important thing is image. And then these become the children that have kind of similar issues. Sometimes they learn, because not, both parents aren't one way, right? So they could be more like the other parent, and then they repudiate the parent with this histrionic personality, saying things like, mom is so dramatic, everything is about image with her, or dad is just such a show off, and all he does is want to make money, and that kind of thing. So, but the children usually feel if you have this sort of parent, you very correctly feel that your relationship is kind of shallow, because that is really characteristic of the disorder. So, that's not going to be a shock, because these rapidly shifting shallow emotions. So if you come home and you say to your mom, like, oh, nobody sat with me at lunch today, and she's like, oh no. And then 2 seconds later, she picks up the phone and she's in a good mood talking to her girlfriend. You may learn that you're not that important, or that your mother doesn't necessarily care. She may care, it's not like she's monstrous or something, but it just doesn't, she's always going to turn to the attention source. So if the phone rings, she's always going to get on the phone. If somebody knocks at the door, she's always going to go answer. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If somebody wants to hang out, she's always going to hang out. These people are kind of compulsively social, because when they're alone, they don't have their source of joy, which is getting attention from other people. So these people frequently, they can become actors and actresses. They go into sales. They go into service jobs where they're just constantly in contact with other people and almost ticking off in their mind, oh, that person likes me, that person looked at me, that person looks at me, that person, wants to sleep with me, and all of those sort of things. So this is an interesting personality disorder because it really does not have the deep, the torturous, like borderline stuff where the person is just obsessed with getting one specific person to love them. This could be this is a group. This is like everybody. So these people, whereas the person with BPD is almost like so deep that it's pathological, because they're constantly like ruminating about, does this person really love me? Are they going to abandon me? The person with histrionic personality disorder, it's a more shallow kind of interaction. If these people that are married like 5 times, those people are more like the histrionic personality disorder people. They cannot. The wedding is the most fun part of the whole thing. That's like a great big party. And they're always doing stuff, posting on social media, all about everything they do. They love to rack up the likes. There's a lot of these people in entertainment. And they're just very, very, very outward focused. So if you're involved with this sort of person, you don't feel like you are necessarily in a meaningful relationship with them because that's not really something that they can do. And so it's really not about you. This is not a good personality type for a more sensitive person. So I have people who come in and they truly do describe like an in-law, like a mother-in-law or father-in-law who has this, and the more or ostensibly has it, literally the description sounds like it. And so if it's this personality style that does not go along well with a highly sensitive person who's trying to, make a deeper connection, because these people really do not make deeper connections. That's kind of endemic to the disorder. Now, can this be treated? Yeah, sure. People who feel, with all the personality disorders, you're really going to work on it if you feel that something is going very wrong in your life and you have the motivation. So if you're, let's say a guy with histrionic personality and your child stops talking to you because they say that you're a shallow bastard, you never cared about the family and all you did was chase women or something and chase attention. Yeah, you may get into deeper insight-oriented psychotherapy. You may. Because you love your child and because your child is criticizing you and says that they won't talk to you. So any human being can improve with insight and effort. The thing is does everybody want to put in effort? No. When things are going well, people with personality disorders traditionally do not want to put in as much effort, but that's like anybody. Nobody really wants to rock the boat if things are going well in their life. When things go poorly, that's when they may try. Anybody can cultivate more insight. They used to say people with borderline were like incurable. That's obviously been disproven. There's loads and loads of research on how much therapy can help somebody with BPD and PD as well, which is narcissistic personality. I work with people with narcissism constantly. And histrionic personality, since they don't like to go that deep, they're the least likely to come in for therapy out of those 3. But if they're there and they get past the trying to impress the therapist, which of course would be it, getting the attention, telling the best stories, being the one who's deeply, that they think that the therapist, is on tenterhooks waiting to hear their next amazing story, because that's how they view their life overall. So if it can go beyond that and they could go back more into childhood, family of origin, understanding where some of this behavior is a defense against the deep fear of being unknown and forgotten and unloved and ignored, well, then you're getting somewhere then. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned about a new personality disorder today. And I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.